Hi, everybody, and welcome back to our health and wellness podcast for perfect personal training. This is Coach Val Fiott, and today we're going to be talking about 5 big reasons why physical therapy may not have worked for you, or why it might not work for you at some point in the future. So, before I get into this list of 5 big things that I found to be obstacles to successful physical therapy, first I'm going to ask you to click like so more people see this video, and to click subscribe so that you get more videos like this in the future from our channel. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. So, the first big reason that I find that physical therapy doesn't always work for people is really because of the specificity that goes into the script and what exactly the physical therapist will be allowed to do. So, basically, if you have an injury, the physical therapist can't do what a personal trainer or a health coach would often do. They have to be very isolated to that exact problem. Let's say, for example, pain in the knee. And the scripts don't always allow for them to start venturing out and being more holistic and solving other problems that are related. So, for example, if you're working with a health coach or a corrective exercise specialist or a medical fitness expert, and there's not a prescription involved, we often have the ability to really go deep and figure out that a knee problem is actually stemming from a hip, which is being triggered from a low back dysfunction, and we can really do the detective work. Physical therapists often aren't really allowed to do much of that just due to time. And so, basically because of the bureaucracy of it all, the way it works is that they have to really justify what exactly they're doing with you. So, for that reason, in some cases, their hands may be a little bit tied and you might not get quite as in depth of or holistic of therapy as you might expect. Now, another issue that often happens in regard to physical therapy is that the consistency ends up not really being what's needed for really optimal therapy and change. Yeah, let's say, for example, you're scheduled to meet with your therapist twice per week, and then perhaps you get sick and you miss a week. And then when you try to come back, maybe the therapist is injured or out. And so there ends up being changes in either how frequently you're meeting or in who you're meeting. You might end up having to change therapists along the way, or something happens. And so you don't really have the consistency that's necessary to build muscles and to lead to adaptation. And this is huge because consistency is really about the number one factor that will influence whether or not you truly get better or how much better you get. All right, moving on to our third item. Now let's talk about the fact that physical therapists usually aren't really coaches. And I say the same thing about most medical doctors as well. It's a very different circumstance when you are working one on one with a coach very regularly who really knows your psychology, understands you, your frame of mind, and that they can work not only to guide you physically, but mentally and spiritually. And they can say to you, hey, right now, I think your head is in this kind of place. And I think we need to feel more this way. Think back to when you accomplished this. And it's those kind of conversations that really coach and that really lead to the dynamics and the communication that's often necessary to get really great therapeutic change. Now, I'm not saying that's always the case, but in some cases, what I've seen is that at the end of the day, the physical therapist may know exactly what to do physiologically for someone, but their communication just isn't quite there. They're not really meshing, they're not really connecting as a coach and a mentor to like a student. And therefore, the physical therapist is not always able to really bring about the substantial change that they want to because there's not that level of buy in and communication that you have in a more straightforward coaching relationship. All right, so all of this brings me to nutrition. Now, nutrition is a topic that doesn't really get brought up in a lot of physical therapy clinics. And so you have to think about the value of nutrition in terms of muscle function and in terms of cardiovascular function as well. And basically, every biological process that you have and every muscular contraction, every joint, everything in your body is going to boil down to nutrition. Some people don't really realize this when it comes to, say, joint dysfunction or joint pain, but actually it's nutrition that really nourishes the joints in a very important way. So without the right antioxidants and the right hydration and all the right factors, no matter how good that physical therapist is in putting together your exercise prescription, at the end of the day, if nutrition is not optimal, there's a very good chance that you won't be able to really reap the rewards of the therapy. Now, on similar lines, this brings us to item number 5, and this is recovery. And recovery and nutrition are pretty adjacent to one another. At the end of the day, your muscles need to grow and they need to develop, and your connective tissue needs to get healthier. And whatever's happening with your body is going to rely on nutrition, like I spoke about, but also other aspects such as sleep science, for example. If you're not getting really deep restorative sleep, almost no physical therapy can really do a whole lot of good because your body really heals while you're sleeping. And the same goes for hydration. As I'd mentioned a bit before, if you are shy on body water, your muscles and your joints and your organs, nothing can really operate as optimally as they should, and they certainly can't really improve. So it's important to understand how all these components that go into your recovery really matter a lot. Also, your stress management is a big part of all of that. If you're very stressed out and your hormones are going all over the place and you have high blood pressure because of it, it's going to be very unlikely that you're going to see very successful therapy, regardless of what's being done in the clinic, in the physical therapy clinic. So anyway, I hope this list of 5 items has been helpful. Perhaps it's shed some light on why you may have not have had as good of a physical therapy experience as you'd hope for. As always, everyone, you can get my help directly. Go ahead and reach out to me. I work as a health coach, life coach, personal trainer, medical fitness expert. I do all kinds of things to help people connect to longevity and daily energy in a pain-free way with great mobility. Go ahead and reach out to me. My information is down below. And as always, I'm looking forward to your health and your wellness success.